everybody. Welcome to another episode of Idio Talk. I am your host, Walker Glenn.
I'm Zach Glenn.
We are very excited to be back with you. Some of you may have noticed right away by the title of this episode, we're doing another slight deviation, not as extreme this time from Radiohead to Batman.
No.
This feels more related to Radiohead than Batman. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I'm trying to get an idea of the Venn diagram of Batman to Radiohead, and I feel like there are other fictional characters or even film genre types that might have more overlap. But
we did figure out, though, that there is some shared DNA there. We figured out that, like...
weirdos like both the characters in
Yes. Creeps, if you will. Yeah. Well, we figured out that Batman would listen to Radiohead, Superman would listen to Coldplay.
Absolutely.
Or Muse.
Or Sting.
Sting, sure.
The Police. Yeah, he'd be like, I love the Police.
The Police seem a little cool for Superman to me. He
right.
seems more like a Fields of Gold or whatever that fucking shit is called.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe this is a chance to get... I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think the Police are an incredibly overrated band.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend I have done a deep dive, but off of their most famous songs, Roxanne and Every Breath You Take are the only two that I like.
Okay.
And I just don't think that I understand they were innovative at the time, but
yeah.
I don't think there's a lot to chew on.
That same genre as the car, new wave, right?
Yes, I think what distinguishes the Police is that, you know, they're bringing kind of reggae to a Western audience. I mean, it's white people doing reggae.
Sure.
And America fell in love.
Wow, I never thought of it as, you can't. Well, okay, here's my take on the Police.
Sure.
Which I think will tie in nicely to Radiohead.
Yeah.
Stuart Copeland, their drummer, there's a really cool documentary about drummers on Netflix that I can't remember the title of. But it talks about John Bonham, Ringo, Stuart Copeland, and Chad Smith and
Tommy Lee.
Yeah. But I didn't realize what an innovator and just technical genius Stuart Copeland was, because, you know, within the Police, Sting and the Discord, I believe he had with the other members, maybe the bass player, guitar player. Oh, Sting was the bass player. It sort of, I think, hogs the spotlight. So I think there's stuff to like in there. But, you know, growing up, we kind of listened to what our parents listened to, right? And our parents listened to a lot of good stuff and then just stuff that was their own thing. But I do think we got some good exposure to music. But I only knew of Sting as a solo artist. And I think Sting, when did he become a parody of himself? Very quickly, right?
I think it was when people found out about the tantric sex stuff that kind of...
Okay.
You know that?
I don't know what that is. No.
Oh yeah, he's really into edging and marathon.
Oh yeah,
sex.
yeah. Okay, that I think that kind of tracks. So Sting's solo career is I'm not going to say it's a bummer. I have not done a deep dive on Sting, but what we're talking about possibly today, another solo venture from a act where there's not a lot of discord. Is not a parody of the individual. Would you say that, Walker?
I would say that.
Okay.
And thank you for getting us back on track. The only other thing I was going to ask you is, as part of my kind of shit talking on the band The Police, does ACAB apply to the band, the new wave group, 1980s new wave group, The Police?
What does ACAB mean?
All cops are bastards.
Oh, yes.
Now, do you want to take that again, Zach?
Yeah, let's take it again.
Where you are aware of the anti-police terror movement that has been sweeping the nation?
No, that's okay. I mean, I have heard it before. It just went out of my consciousness.
When you see it, you've probably seen it in print.
Uh-huh.
Do you read it as ACAB or phonetically?
Phonetically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, ACAB includes the police.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So
that does not include the cars.
No, of course not. The cars are value neutral.
They're my favorite new wave band, I think.
I like the Cars a lot. Yeah. And you know what? I would probably like them less if they were called the Police Cars.
Yeah, me too.
You just got to be like, it's not even, it's like.
Or the vehicles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The motorized carriages.
The conveyances.
No, so we are talking a solo project today.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, more connected to Radiohead than Batman is, because it is a solo project of Thom Yorke, who I'm sure listeners of the podcast know by now is the singer, principal songwriter, frontman, pianist,
drummer occasionally.
Yes, multi-instrumentalist in his own right.
Bass player.
Bass player. He
Do it all.
He does it all. Not the Onez Martineau.
No.
Did I get it right?
I wouldn't say that was wrong. It's Owns Martineau.
God damn it.
But I'm not going to say that was wrong.
No, I know, but I'm just praying for the day when that rolls off the tongue correctly the first time that we say it in an episode, that I say it in an episode. Owns Martineau.
I haven't pronounced
Martineau.
amnesiac correctly once the entire time of this show.
Well,
I've said
look,
amnesiac. No, I've said amnesiac.
See, I feel like either is okay.
I was trying to think if it's like scenario, and if like scenario, if I was being an asshole by saying scenario or amnesiac. But I watched a pronunciation video just like on Google, like if you're trying to, figure out the etymology of the word, and it's like distinctly the person's like amnesiac. No, amnesiac. Fuck.
Yeah. Okay. So we're all struggling, and that's okay. Yeah. We are human here. Yeah. In any case, Thom Yorke doesn't play the Owens Martineau.
No.
Boom. Got it. But he plays a little bit of everything else, a lot of guitar, a lot of piano in Radiohead, and this is his first solo album. First of a few. And I think there's a good chance that we're gonna. I don't want to overpromise here. But I think there's a good chance that we're going to end up covering all of them. Listeners may be noticing that we're covering non-Radiohead projects related to the Radiohead canon before we've gotten through all the band's studio albums. Now, listeners, don't worry. We haven't forgotten that there are more studio albums. This is intentional and by design. We don't want to run through all of our Radiohead content right away. So we're talking about other stuff in the chronology that they happened. This solo album was released between the last Radiohead studio album we discussed, Hail to the Thief, and the forthcoming at this time in the band's career, In Rainbows. In 2006, Thom Yorke puts out a solo album, a collaboration between him and longtime Radiohead producer Nigel Godrich, released on Britain's largest independent label, XL Recordings. Not an EMI release. The band was still signed to EMI at this time. So it's a little bit of a departure. And with that, I'm kind of setting you up to maybe let the listeners know any other relevant background information. But suffice to say, we're here to talk about The Eraser.
Yeah. We're not here to talk about the 1996 film Eraser starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Sure. Not The Eraser, just Eraser?
Just Eraser.
So that's how listeners will know the difference.
Totally. I think it's critical that we put the in the title.
Now, but fun fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger does play percussion on 2 songs on this album. It was a very bizarre... Yes. It was a really bizarre synergy cross-promotion that the studio that put out The Eraser, which of course I know, so I don't need to say which studio put it out. They also, it turns out that XL was a subsidiary of Universal Studios, and they were like, you know what would be great is we get one of our biggest music stars, Thom Yorke, and one of our biggest action stars, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in the studio together, and magic was made, listeners.
Yeah.
So anyway, Zach, but give me some of the background about The Eraser.
Okay. So it was released in the year 1996.
Wait.
It was directed by a gentleman named Chuck Russell. Checked out his filmography. Not a lot of standouts there. We can go through them if we have time. But the lead actor was Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is an order of billing. James Caan. Vanessa Williams. listeners might remember her as a brilliant actress herself, also married to former Lakers basketball star Rick Fox.
Zach, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh.
I'm worried.
Okay.
Now, listeners,
you want me to go back to director Chuck Russell?
We'll get back to Chuck Russell. We'll get back to the Seaman.
All right.
I'm worried that you, who are an exhaustive researcher of the things we talk about, I'm worried you might have come to the test having studied the wrong chapter. I was talking about the Thom Yorke album, The Eraser. You researched...
Directed by Nigel Godrich.
Also, weirdly, also starring Vanessa Williams in a supporting role.
Okay, fine. Well, I mean, I have listened
I think
to
she
The
plays
Eraser.
viola on the clock.
I just
A
want to
woman
tell
of many
you
talents.
what else Chuck Russell directed really bad.
Please.
He directed The Scorpion King, which is one of the Dwayne The Rock Johnson's first on-screen film.
Yeah, that was kind of the
end of the Mummy run. The Mask, starring Jim Carrey. So he did direct movies with the word "the" in them, just not The Eraser.
Sure.
Eraser. And then
Eraser, he was like, lose the yeah? It's cleaner.
Talking a British voice, even though I'm American. And then his career really fell off a cliff. He did do one of the original Nightmare on Elm Street sequels. I think it was like Nightmare
Which one?
on Elm Street 4.
Ooh, 4 sucks. If he did 3, he did my second favorite.
No, he did. It was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
That's a
good
really
one.
fun movie.
That's where I dropped off.
That movie is first Nightmare on Elm Street, great, scary,
Love it.
holds up. Second one is a weird outlier that Freddy is hardly in. It's worth looking into because the movie is a pretty blatant allegory for
has some stuff to say.
Yeah, it's like about being a closeted homosexual. And there's, I believe, a documentary about it that I have not seen, but I have heard a lot of analysis. The actor in the lead role was gay and not out at the time. And anyway, really interesting concept for a horror movie. Very bad concept for a movie that is supposed to be about a monster who kills you in your dreams. Freddy's hardly in it.
Which is maybe one of the best ideas for a horror villain of all time.
Also, maybe not surprisingly for a movie made in the mid-'80s, this movie that is in many ways has an ahead of its time message about having to hide something perceived as different about yourself, like being gay in a kind of straight dominated world, has also some scenes that read as really hatefully homophobic to me.
Yeah.
But third Nightmare on Elm Street, they course correct. It's all these kids who have been dreaming about Freddy are in a mental institution where they're being given medication not to dream. It's the one where Freddy, they really start leaning into the fact that he does quips and says the word bitch a lot, but it isn't constant. And there's I could sum up how enjoyable that movie is there's a character, a girl who's obsessed with TV and being on TV, and Freddy emerges out of the TV,
so cool,
made out of like wires and gears and stuff, and grabs the girl and says, "Welcome to prime time, bitch."
It's almost like the producer saw Chucky.
Yeah, and then smashes her head into the TV. And it's a really enjoyable. So I'm a Chuck Russell fan.
Yeah.
Now I know. Now, have you seen Eraser?
No.
Okay, because I think I have.
That was the end of the Arnold. Well, it wasn't. It was the beginning of the end. I mean, I think the early aughts were really the end. After, right up until the year he became governor, he had films coming out that year.
Can you hit me with the premise of Eraser? Do you have that at your disposal?
Totally.
Because is the wonderful British character actor who's the lead in Babe? What's his name?
No,
James.
I love that actor. He's like 6'5". Really?
Yes.
Yeah. No, he's not in it.
Okay, then I'm thinking of a different.
Oh no, he is James Cromwell.
Okay,
He's
then I've
like
seen
seventh
this.
billing.
He kills himself early in the movie, and I all I remember is he's some sort of CEO who's been caught doing something.
Wow.
And as the cops come in, he shoots himself. And I remember him having a line read where he says, "You have no fucking idea."
That's so strange. He also kills himself in iRobot, which kicks off the whole plot, and he's like the C-level executive.
Well, maybe James Cromwell has something in his rider about I get to kill myself.
Listen to how 90s this is, dude. U.S. Marshal Deputy. Okay, 3 words in. U.S. Marshal Deputy Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Sure.
Why is he always playing this most Americana? Why was he always playing the most Americana dude?
Yeah.
That's a tired bit. Now, other people have done it better, but it is hilarious to make it.
Wyoming cattle rustler Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hey, bro, why do you talk so different?
FDNY first responder Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, no, it is. Why don't they just say immigrant?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's an accomplishment himself. Anyway,
biggest immigrant you've ever seen, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
most successful. The only thing he can't do is be president, and if he were born here, he probably would.
Yeah. He
U.S.
would be
Marshal
by
Deputy John Kruger is one of the toughest marshals.
John
His
Kruger.
methods are to
Second time Clive Russler. What's his name? Clive Russell?
the director
Chuck Russell. Second
Chuck
time he's
Russell.
directed a Kruger.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
God, what is this guy? Okay, so his methods are to erase the identity, and there's a period after that. The identities of his witnesses he is assigned to protect. I don't know who wrote this summary. Meanwhile, a woman named Lee Cullen, who works for a corporation named Cyrez, performed an undercover job for the FBI to unveil a top secret weapon which uses an electromagnetic pulse to dispatch targets. That is also a theme of the 90s. The Matrix really brought that to its apex of the EMP. Cyrez discovered this about Lee and are now out to kill her. Kruger's job is to protect Lee, so I see where that's going. So she can testify against Cyrez. But when Kruger was assigned to perform a job with another marshal named Robert Duguerin, he discovers that Duguerin is behind some kind of scam that will involve the EM gun. This is a long plot.
Oh yeah, that's okay. You don't have to read the whole thing. But so to put it in layman's terms, it sounds like he works for the government, erasing people, covering up secrets, and maybe botch secret missions. But then he has to work against the very government.
Yeah,
protecting
Mission
this
Impossible's
woman.
been rehashing this movie
Very much so. Okay, well that sounds. I'm glad that we are here to talk about this today.
But as you said, I do put a lot of effort into researching. So I did also research The Eraser. I was up till 4:30 a.m.
Is that true? Okay.
So we were talking about the album The Eraser. This will be a very interesting edit. The artist is Thom Yorke, as you covered. This was released on July 10th, 2006. It was recorded between 2004 and 2005. This is all relevant to the discussion because listeners will remember Hail the Thief was released in 2003. A band typically tours, especially of Radiohead's scale and popularity at that point, for about a year. Would you say that's fair, Walker?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Especially at this time.
They did only tour Hail the Thief for a year. They were exhausted, right? So they went on a hiatus.
A very common theme for Radiohead. A band that I don't want to speak for you, but what I have learned about Radiohead doing this podcast is I don't think they enjoy touring very much. Which it does seem like grueling work, especially as you get up there.
We talked about that during OK Computer a lot, but I felt like the band was invigorated to tour after Kid A and in the Amnesiac period.
Might have been fun to get out and play songs live after staring at graphs on a computer for
totally
the last
or
3
punch
years.
cards because it was the early 2000s. Am I right? But we'll also get into that too, sort of the state of technology. So the background of this album, the actual album, not the movie Eraser.
From here on out, we're talking about the Eraser.
Yeah.
Not Eraser.
So Radiohead goes on hiatus after 2004. That is new because it was a declared hiatus. Radiohead didn't call the press and say we're on hiatus, but when asked, they did state that. So that's new, right? The period between OK Computer and Kid A was sort of like, we're working on shit, leave us alone. So they go on hiatus after 2000.
There's that
that classic Johnny Greenwood eloquence.
Yeah, that you could see why the press loved these guys.
Although Walker and I did listen to an interview with Thom Yorke from NPR, and this was probably 2013, 14, or 15. And as much as we love old TY, he did. What did he say, Walker?
I don't remember.
He said "and shit" a lot.
Oh no, this was his WTF with Mark Maron.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah.
He said "and shit" like it was like 2002 or something.
Yeah, and a lot of sentences like the way I feel like a very American tick that I definitely imbibe a lot is to end sentences with . And I feel like the British is yeah. they say yeah a lot at the end of it, but he would kind of use it like that.
I know.
Like, we've been working really hard and shit. And I re-listened to that interview about a year ago.
I did.
And,
I did too.
It's a great interview, and he says "and shit" less than I thought he did the first time. But it is something that he says it a lot.
Yeah, that's really, really great interview. I highly recommend it, folks. So work continued through 2005 as Radiohead began recording, 2007's In Rainbows. So why am I invoking In Rainbows? Well, it's just interesting to think about that Radiohead went on a hiatus in 2004, and starting in 2005, they were working on In Rainbows. We'll cover that in exhaustive detail when we get to that album. Just goes to show you folks that not every band is like, I've mentioned Tool several times because they are forthcoming about how they record. Takes them about a year in a very, very, very organized, methodical fashion that does not have any deviation from how they do it. Radiohead are not that way. Johnny Greenwood spoke on behalf of Radiohead in support of Thom pursuing his solo work. This is a paraphrase, but he said Thom's got to pursue. He's got to get this out of his system, so to speak, which I thought was really, really great. Mm-hmm. I just really like that. And Nigel Godrich, Walker mentioned he produced this album. He spoke favorably of working with Thom as a solo project, not in opposition or as opposed to with Radiohead, but really he said when working with the group, he and Thom would butt heads because Nigel is there to advocate on behalf of the band. And that is a slight paraphrase, but he does say the words butt heads. And I find that very interesting because we speculated a lot during Hail to the Thief about Nigel's potentially diminished role. And it was fun to speculate, and I think that some of it probably is right on, some of it is just fans talking about stuff. But as you go into this period and as we listen to this record, I really do think that it's interesting to kind of try and parse out sonically, maybe because this is a Thom Yorke solo record. Right, and Johnny Greenwood is also very into pushing the limits of technology within Radiohead's music, and yet this is defined as an electronic album, which is what Nigel's background and speciality were in. Right,
mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I don't think that it's two folks, not saying no to each other, or not editing, or not collaborating, but well, we can discuss that in further detail. Do you kind of get what I
do.
Okay.
I mean, I thought this was a really interesting aspect of this album. I watched a couple interviews with Thom Yorke from around this time, and it was conveyed with seemingly like no hostility, but the idea that you're driving at, mm-hmm. It seemed that like what Thom wanted to get out of this album and what, at least for from what Johnny said there, the band was happy for him to get mm-hmm. out of this project was him wanting to make music without kind of subjecting it to the grueling democratizing process of Radiohead.
Right.
Which I thought was like a really cool affirming thing.
We're talking about what Nigel said or Johnny said?
What Thom said too.
Oh, okay.
I watched a couple interviews with him and it was like, it just seemed like it's like, it really made sense. So this album is much more direct, in my opinion, lyrically and musically than Radiohead.
Okay.
And I think that serves the album well as a solo project. I think it differentiates mm-hmm. it from Radiohead nicely.
Yeah.
So you don't just feel, or I don't feel as a listener to this album. I guess I should just say right off the bat, I really like The Eraser mm-hmm. a lot. And I don't feel like I'm just getting watered down Radiohead.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because it is, although Thom's melodies, vocals, and sonic choices are not.
He's the leader of the band.
He's the leader of the band. It does. You are not like confused who you're listening to.
Totally.
It does not sound like a different songwriter, but lyrically and musically, I feel like he is going for something like more immediate here. Mm-hmm. And I like that it feels, even though he did work on this album for a couple years and it feels like a lot of hard work into it, it feels more immediate to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's satisfyingly and refreshingly mm-hmm. different from Radiohead at their creative peaks.
Mm-hmm.
They're presenting you something that has gone through an incredibly arduous process.
Mm-hmm.
And
years sometimes with some songs.
Exactly. And so yeah, I like and Tom, Johnny, and Nigel kind of seem to all have said about this album, yeah, he wanted to do something, or I wanted to do something that wasn't really subjected to all those cooks in the kitchen. And I think that's I think that really comes through in this work in a cool way.
Absolutely. And I think it's fun to, handsome man jokes aside and all of that. I wonder because
the handsome man will make a ersatz appearance on this album.
Sure.
Listeners,
but
look out.
I just love the idea of, I can't speak for anyone else besides myself, but, I think of Johnny and Tom as the mama and the papa fixture, not assigned to either role, right? It totally alternates, right? Because music is not truly non-binary.
Yeah.
But like if, what we're talking about, what we're used to as fixtures. So when I hear Nigel say that, I'm like, he's advocating on Johnny's behalf because Tom's trying to go too much in one direction. Well, not so. I mean, Colin, who we have not short shrifted, but neither one of us, our bass is our primary instrument. Colin, as we talked about in Hail the Thief, I believe to have John Paul Jones, Paul McCartney level melodies. That's going to allow him input into a group he spent his entire life playing music in. Phil, maybe he is laid back. Maybe he's there to provide the beat. Phil is a phenomenal drummer. Ed, textures, pedal board provides that sauce, right? So it's not that like, it's just Nigel is like advocating one day for Johnny or Tom. There's probably a lot of different input. And I think it's just because we think of them as sort of the fixtures. So it's just kind of fun to speculate, like where, not discord, but like what the songwriting process is like and where Nigel does have to intervene,
I agree. I thought that what I learned about the creation of this album was some of the most enlightening information I've gotten about Radiohead's process actually through this project, because it did sound as if Nigel, speaking in generalities, is saying that he is kind of the conduit between Tom and the band. And I just thought that was really interesting because I can see that where some of the biggest headaches could lie is turning Thom Yorke songs into Radiohead songs.
Right.
And
said.
Yeah. And I just thought that was really interesting. And so it sounds like he wanted to do a project that wasn't put through that process. And, I was looking at kind of reviews of this album and it's pretty well regarded. It's slightly less well regarded. The aggregate reviews are lower than I would give this album. And what I found to be the kind of refrain of people who were disappointed by it is, not surprisingly, people saying it sounds like
watered down Radiohead.
Yeah. Or it's like, and also just, you can't help but wonder what Radiohead would do with these songs. Now, that is a refrain I have expressed on this very podcast about The Smile. Who I think I have also expressed that I am a huge fan of The Smile and their album A Light for Attracting Attention, and that still stands.
Which you just got on vinyl.
Which I did just get on vinyl, but it's been out for almost a year now, and I still am a huge fan of that project. I still do have a part of me that is like, this is so close to Radiohead in my mind that I can't completely turn off the part of me that would love to hear what Phil, Ed, and Colin would bring to those songs and what the Radiohead process would bring to those songs. Still great, but I still have that part of me that will kind of always wonder. I don't feel that way about this album. I feel that these songs are perfect for solo songs. They don't have as many parts. They're not as meticulously arranged, and the lyrics are more rhymey than most Radiohead songs. And I hesitate to use the word direct again, but it just feels like a simplified, more direct approach than Radiohead. And I love to hear that. I want to hear what Tom can offer from a more stripped down place. And so I don't wish this was a Radiohead album. I think it's kind of a perfect solo project. And really, it's a solo project in name only. It is more or less a duo project between Thom and Nigel.
And also, there's a specific song. I didn't do as much exhaustive research, not because I watched the film The Eraser, but just because I really the way that I researched this was by listening to it exhaustively. I've mentioned a book in name several times called "This Isn't Happening: Radiohead in the Beginning of the 21st Century." That is about Kid A. He talks about the conception of the album The Eraser because he does finish the book by going all the way through their albums.
Sure.
So I did, break that out. But the reason why I say all that is because there is an aspect of Radiohead that I love, which is, again, I can't remember which track, but part of the melody is taken from a piano piece that Greenwood had written, and then Thom had recorded it and then rearranged it, right? Which is very, very Thom Yorke, awesome thing to do. And I love that, when you're as prolific and as brilliant of a songwriter, because Johnny Greenwood is a songwriter as well, right? He's a composer, that you give something like that, right? And it reminds me of like writers who, maybe have stuff lifted before and their response is not anger and lawsuits, which they have every right to do. Mm-hmm. But is that trust of knowing I have other good stuff in me, right? And that is an approach to take. I have never had something that I've created taken, and obviously Thom didn't take it without Johnny's permission. But there was no ego associated to I want to save this for me for my film score, which by the way Johnny Greenwood was working on at this time. Mm-hmm. You have that's trust in yourself, and that's just what I would encourage listeners to do. If you have a good idea and you see it come up somewhere, you have other good ideas. Walker, you do comedy, right? You've probably had that happen where you have an idea and you see it, but you keep going, right? Because there's lots of ideas.
Sure.
And I just found that to be really cool. Maybe I'm honing in on it too much.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I've had conversations with comics where it turns out they're doing a bit that is really similar to another comic's bit. And man, I understand it is really hard to let go of material, especially when you are at a phase in your development, which I consider myself, where it's you don't have mountains of material to pull from. Finding a new 2 minutes that works is sometimes a long journey. Mm-hmm. But I've been in conversations with people where they're poring over this bit that is really similar to somebody else's bit and going, well, if I change this word, and it's just like, I think if the thought is so common that two people came up with the exact same take on it independently, it's probably not worth keeping.
Yeah. And there's obviously a certain...
I don't know how that relates to Radiohead.
No,
I think I just lit up because you were talking about...
No, you made the point that I was trying to get at. And I think Johnny Greenwood and other comedians I've heard talk about this are obviously at a place where they trust themselves. They're at a peak of their creativity where they are afforded that luxury. But we encounter those situations all the time, listeners. So that's all I was going to say. I was really inspired by that little bit.
Well,
and...
Oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Well, I just, you might have more to cover, but I just, to kind of put a button on where this falls in the Radiohead canon. I love what you're saying because I think that, like I said, even though this like shines a light on what it sounds like is really challenging about Radiohead's writing and rehearsal and recording process, I think it also, what you're saying just shows that there is like a real spirit of camaraderie and collaboration among these guys. And Thom, in the press materials that I watched of him promoting this album, in typical Thom Yorke Radiohead fashion, he's very fussy about categorizing this as one particular thing. So he's very clear. It's a solo album. I don't like calling it a solo album. I think specifically as the lead singer of the band, he's like, because then people are going to think that I'm saying that I'm done with Radiohead and that I want to be a solo artist. I don't like calling it a side project because I put a lot of work into it. So like I said, in typical Thom Yorke fashion, it lands in a place where you don't know what to call it. But I think I don't know if you know this, but Mick Jagger made a solo album in the 80s. And it was, I think, very much him testing out the waters of, can I be a big star without these guys? Can I be Sting? Can I be Peter Gabriel? The answer was no. And then he sheepishly went back to the Rolling Stones. That was something where he did not have the blessing of the band. I read Keith Richards' autobiography. He's still talking shit about it 50 years later, So this was not that. This was, I had these songs that don't fit Radiohead. It's a different approach, in writing, recording, and performance, and I wanted to get these out of my system.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to say that I am going to tie back to that directly, but I do want to just get into my overall thoughts. And listeners, I don't know where we're at, Walker, but I want to get this out up front because there's only 8 tracks on this album. It is 41 minutes long. 9, I'm sorry. It is rather short, but I was really, really, really excited to share this with you, Walker, and I kind of want to just get your take. So, first of all, this is so we're gonna start off with a memory. So we have now reached the point of the podcast when Radiohead / Thom Yorke are in my consciousness in real time. And what I mean by that is when we were talking about Hail to the Thief, sure, I remember the year 2003. Unfortunately, I don't remember the release of Hail to the Thief, nor the internet leak, right? You know, I remember the surrounding events and I can piece it together that way. I remember this album came out, when it came out, you know, because I first heard the song Analyze in the fall of 2006 in the closing credits of the Christopher Nolan film, The Prestige.
No shit.
Yes. And Christopher Nolan, one thing I like about this podcast is Walker and I, as much as we love Radiohead, we dislike a lot of things too. I am not going to turn this into, you know, this person's bad at their craft or whatever. Christopher Nolan is oft compared to one of my favorite directors and Stanley Kubrick, and I think that he falls short of that. This is a movie that I love, and I think the song fits it beautifully, and it's just a really cool thing. And you know, that song Analyze is a great song, and I feel like, you know, I do have a very distinct memory of this. I saw it with my cousin, the aforementioned cousin Levi, in theaters. I asked him if he knew who it was. He did. And in a casual way, he said, yeah, he's the singer of Radiohead. And this stirred an intense feeling in me to go, oh, Radiohead. And it kind of I realized that they were still relevant, right? And all that to say, I feel like this podcast has been equal to, if not greater than what years of therapy have done, because it has explained so much of my journey to not just Radiohead, but to my taste in general. Right, because and what I'm saying is it's not a substitute. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't ever think about when I first heard a song and how it potentially opened doors in my taste profile, because I mentioned I think Christopher Nolan is inferior to the director he's oft compared to. Well, the only reason I can make that comparison is because now I've explored further, right? And I recall being moved, curious, and open-minded by this because it is an electronically focused song. So how can I quantify this, right? So I watched The Prestige constantly after it was released on DVD. And I'd always look forward to the end of the movie for when that song would come on. And I
like that you were just like, there's no other way to get this song. I've got to watch this movie.
I mean, I was a 17-year-old kid. I was really, really into it wasn't new metal, but whatever was sort of in 2006, you know, opening of 2007. There's a metal band at the time called Avenged Sevenfold, who I still listen to this day. Not all of their albums, but those first couple.
You did go through kind of like a butt rock phase, huh?
Totally. So and I'm not embarrassed about it. I've talked about Metallica. I like a lot of different kinds of music, and some of it is dorky, and I embrace that rather than hide it like I used to.
Of course.
But you know, yeah, I was just an incurious, not about everything, but I was incurious about that. But I wouldn't rent the movie for that, but I did look forward to it. And so my cousin telling me who was the artist and kind of hearing this electronically focused track that really sets a tone for the twilight of that film, which has one of the coolest closing shots of any movie I can think of, at least contemporarily. It helped me dissociate the idea of Thom Yorke from Michael Stipe and Morrissey. Those guys came before Thom Yorke, right? And they're still around. But that's kind of what I thought Thom Yorke was. I thought they were this pretentious. I know people love Morrissey, but I thought that
as his music, but he's a lightning rod for. I mean, he's constantly in the press in negative ways.
Absolutely, I'm talking about his music.
Yeah,
and so yeah, please don't confuse things there. Just as far as something people nerded out, but I thought he was older. I didn't realize he was contemporary. And Michael Stipe is older than Thom Yorke as well too, right? We've talked about that. So it helped me kind of disassociate, like, oh, Radiohead are actually contemporary.
Sure.
And, we'll move a little quicker here, but this set the table for me to be flabbergasted about a year later when Walker played me Body Snatchers upon the release of In Rainbows, which was in the fall of 2007. So I suddenly realized...
like, Thom Yorke has a band?
Dude, this is my next note, literally. I suddenly realized music is listeners, I'm looking at this with like a linear plane. This is hindsight, just like we have the benefit of listening to the Eraser with, but I really do think I suddenly realized that music is multidimensional when I saw Tom rocking on the Gibson on Body Snatchers in Scotch Mist and was able to tie that to the closing track, Analyzing the Prestige. And I don't know how interesting this is to hear, but
no, but it's like you're like, this guy has a huge versatility of what in what he can do.
Absolutely, and I'm fully ready to listen to and explore this album as music, which is what it is. The Eraser is music, even though it's electronica, right? And I really don't think that. I mean, I've listened to this album a lot, right? And so I say I'm ready to. That's what I've been doing over, I would say, the last like 2.5 years. It's filled with incredible music, songwriting, melodies, creativity, etc. And when I listen to this album, I adjust my mind the same way I do when I listen to my favorite solo album by an artist that belonged to a band of all time, which is Paul McCartney's Ram. Completely different, right? But I put myself in the same state of mind when I listen to The Eraser as I do when I listen to Ram, when I listen to So, when I listen to Us, when I listen to Plastic Ono Band, and All Things Must Pass. It's very, very hard to divorce myself of this person is part of my favorite band of all time. I mean, by listeners, by the way, when I said So and Us, I'm talking about Peter Gabriel, who was in Genesis. So to be clear, like when I was talking about Ram, that is, I think, the greatest and most influential solo album ever for at least indie music, maybe. The Eraser never comes close to Ram in terms of like its how big it is, how long it is, how maybe joyful it is. But they are kind of like in that vein for me of like strongest music. If I can try and forget what band that person is a member of, it totally stands on its own. And to me, The Eraser is better and more interesting than the solo projects of, say, somebody like Billy Corgan, Sting, David Gilmour, Roger Waters. But I place it squarely under the solo Beatles work and squarely above everything else I just mentioned.
Okay.
And that's like really high praise and right in the middle of Hail to the Thief and In Rainbows in terms of its quality. And that's sort of unfair because I just was going through how much this is its own artistic statement and all that. But I think, what maybe those reviewers who are reviewing it at the time of its release didn't have the benefit of is In Rainbows. And this is such a wonderful bridge. This is... We talked a lot about how some of Hail to the Thief sounded a little bit dated. I don't get that with The Eraser. I get a lot of innovation. I do hear a lot of interesting time signatures. We talked about with our guest, Jesse. He just very simply made the point, I think Thom Yorke is comfortable in an odd meter. And I was like, well said, man. Like, you don't have to make everything have 56 words in it to make a great point. I was just so like, that is so well said. And I think you hear a lot of this on this album. This album is the bridge between some of the bloated, aimless, and brilliant parts of Hail to the Thief and the reinvention that I believe In Rainbows is, right? A reinvention. And The Eraser reminds me, listening to it, reminds me so much of Ian Malcolm's quote in Jurassic Park to John Hammond, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because, and as we'll go through the tracks, like Thom Yorke can play some of these songs in an Elliott Smith, David Gilmour level, acoustic guitar style level of aptitude. Those guys are different from each other, but there's one track in particular that reminds me of both Elliott Smith and David Gilmour, kind of on the Dogs era from Animals.
Sure.
And that's incredible because he chose restraint and buried the melodies and some of that as almost like secrets melodically with this like digitization, because his singing is really strong on this. But they're like secrets that you can explore in greater depth and detail in a future album In Rainbows. And I think that this is all that to say, Walker. I think that this album and Radiohead in general, and I am comfortable speaking of both of them as one, the idea of an artist that inspired using restraint and almost behaving as if they have a secret, and they demonstrate that in the work they produce, is fast becoming my favorite type of art on earth. And what's also, this isn't critical, must have, but I think when the creators don't behave as if they know the answer, it makes it that much more brilliant. So I think Radiohead, like sometimes their music, it sort of puzzles me. Like, what is the secret here? What is the rhythm? What is the song's meter? What is the riff? What key is it in? Of course they know that stuff, but they don't behave always as if like they set out to puzzle you. I think and I think great films can do that too. They'll ask you these really powerful questions. Mm-hmm. They don't always deliver what the answer to that moral question is. And I think that The Eraser really has a lot of that, where I'm like, there's a lot of mystery here.
Yeah, ambiguity.
Yeah, that was a lot, but that's what I have on The Eraser.
I love it, man. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful to hear that it means so much to you, and I think that like this album has a really kind of fascinating dichotomy where it's more restrained because it is a primarily electronic album and it's very loop driven, but it actually allows Thom to be a little more spontaneous and organic in his approach to his vocals in particular.
Yeah.
And it's just a really nice mix. I don't really have the same specificity to my history with it. I think I discovered this album in between the long gap of studio releases from Radiohead somewhere. I would say I probably discovered it about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Between,
so in between.
Yeah, in between King of Limbs and Moonshaped Pool and These Are My Guys. And oh, shit, there's a solo album I haven't listened to from Thom Yorke. And I've just always really liked it. Like the other albums in the Radiohead canon that we've covered that have not been as consistently on repeat for me. This is one of those where I knew I liked it, but what I really knew were like 4 super standout tracks, even though I have listened to the whole album many times over the years.
Like Hail to the Thief, kind of?
Yeah, kind of like Hail to the Thief or the Bends or something like that. And like those albums, from my repeated listenings, getting ready for this podcast, there are moments that I hadn't really given much consideration that are now also standouts to me. So as always with Thom and company, there's really, really nice moments, kind of planted in the soil there that are only just jumping out to me now. Should we get into the tracks?
I would love to.
All right, great. Let's do it. So this is the first track of the album. It is the title track called The Eraser.
Doesn't sound like an electronic album to me, Walker.
See, it does to me right off the bat. Now, you mentioned that for one of the songs...
There we go.
There we are. Nice distortion on the drum track there. Very nice, odd rhythm. Now, you mentioned that Thom borrowed some chords that Johnny had recorded and rearranged them for one of the songs. That is this song, the title track. And another interesting thing about the production of this album is Radiohead, during their tours, are constantly building a library of original samples. And that is what Thom pulled from. Not exclusively, but for a lot of this album. And he would send Nigel huge 9-minute pieces of music, and Nigel would basically take a 15-second section and go, build a song from this. It's really interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was reading about that too, and I think that it's difficult to appreciate I love this melody so much.
Do you want to let the chorus?
Yeah, I'll come
This
back
is
to
the
that
chorus of the song. This is a much more verse chorus album, listeners.
Just his voice, listeners. It's just so great. He's just humming steady on this whole album, Walker.
And he's just saying, the more you try to erase me, the more that I appear. Oh, the more you try the eraser, the more that you appear.
There we go. We're going into something different. I love that.
And it's definitely like another one of those Thom kind of, I don't know, lyrics describing kind of like glad handing bullshit that you have to deal with, especially probably as a prominent entertainer such as himself. This one feels maybe a little less acerbic than some of the Radiohead songs about it.
What does that word mean, acerbic? Oh, I love this. That little loop in the background. Acerbic?
Acerbic, like has bite to it, mean.
Okay.
Like a harsh wit.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, especially coming off Hail to the Thief.
It's definitely got the same, kind of normal side eye that his lyrics tend to have, but it feels a little more skeptical, a little less angry to me than other Thom songs. But you were expressing something about the album or the song?
I was expressing just like appreciation of Nigel and just production in general. I mean, I love that what you were saying, that when you think about the amount of, certainly not bullshit, but just material that Nigel would have to sort through. If it was a 9-minute piece, right, and would have to find the 15 seconds within that, that's 25% of a minute, right? So he has to listen to so much of something to find, where he thinks that spot is, and to great effect, I think. And I think production is like anything. It's like in our Hail to the Thief episode. I was talking about playing the drums, and you just said, yeah, playing the drums is hard, and it's so true. I mean, not just in music, in life. It's really good to stop and appreciate the things that we kind of really contribute to the sum of a larger whole. And I think this album really helped me do that with Nigel, especially since Thom initially wanted this album to be all instrumental. And Nigel was the one who pushed him to add vocals, and I'm really glad that he did, because I think that this album has just some outstanding vocal work. I think the whole thing is outstanding vocally, but some really, really beautiful moments. And I don't want to get all my points out on the first song, but we were talking also in Hail to the Thief that my assertion is that in the studio, Thom does all the harmonies like in the recording sense, and I'm sure maybe Ed even finds a harmony, and I do think that the Eraser kind of helps that point. We're not in opposition to each other, but like I do think that the Eraser kind of does reinforce that a little bit, just when you can hear Thom overlaying with himself. And that's not to take away from the brilliance of Ed's ability to sing and harmonize with the lead singer. I just think that like the part we're in right now, and a lot of songs upcoming, you really, really hear Thom's strength as a vocalist.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's really nice to hear him get to do whatever he wants on this one. I am going to just rewind a little bit, because you were talking about Thom wanting this album to be all instrumentals, which is an interesting point that I did not know before researching it for this episode. And just this last section of the title track, The Eraser, I think is, so much in electronica territory that I wonder if this is kind of, it's speculative on my part, but what a instrumental electronic Thom Yorke album might sound like. So just this ending here where the same chords go into a like very like 90s house music type of vibe. So I'm just going to play this for a second. I just think this is so cool. Blips and bloops, but just all really tasteful, all really interesting, unusual sounding stuff. I absolutely would listen to and can see really enjoying a instrumental album from Thom Yorke.
Sure.
My thing about that would be I would like it to be called something else. I know that's like a maybe a strange sticking point, but I just don't. I would be disappointed if I heard something called Thom Yorke and I don't get to hear his voice, which I love so much, and his lyrics, which I love so much. Even a minimal approach is totally fine. Now there is I
love how it cuts everything. It's
really cool.
Nigel in his bag, and I'm not saying Thom, that wasn't Tom's collaboration too, but I really feel like we hear Nigel back.
Yes, making choices. And then we're going to let it play right into track 2, which I'll let breathe for just a minute. This is the song Zach talked about, Analyze.
Which I would suggest listeners do while listening to this song.
Now, just to contradict myself, that this album doesn't sound like Radiohead Leftovers, this is probably the song that, to me, sounds the most like it could be a Radiohead song.
I agree. I get... I want to stay away from this. I don't get... Oh, my God, this hook is so good. I don't...
Oh, yeah. This is also in contention for my favorite song on the album. It's between this and another one.
Okay.
I'm not sure which is the number one spot. This might be number 2, I think, but I love this song.
It's just so... I think why it reminds us both a lot of Radiohead. Radiohead are not a hooky band, and when they have their hooks, they get hooked into my soul and they don't let go. Like the end of There, right? Like
Totally.
Like parts of Idiotech. And I mean, this just has it.
And here it is. Here is that hook. So tight.
Yeah, listeners, I have chills, right? And I mean, I think the most obvious comparison when somebody's talking about a crescendo, a build, a pop, it sounds very similar to like what George Martin calls a musical orgasm when he's describing a day in the life. But that's the beautiful thing about music. Of course, music can set a vibe and all that. But I think music does live in this other territory where it for me, it makes my body respond with like the same level of excitement and joy, and where I feel a little bit blurry. But it's absent that, right? I'm not saying one is better than the others, but like that is what I just think really, 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 really amazing melody and feeling can do. And I get that so much from this album, more than I do on a lot of Hail to the Thief. Again, this is a separate artistic statement, but it was recorded in 2004 and 5, and where we kind of dinged Hail to the Thief a little bit for some of its production, I think it just wasn't quite fleshed out to this level of thought and analysis, and I think Thom taking his time really, really benefited it.
This is also a song that was kicking around during Radiohead sessions.
Yeah.
So this one almost was a Radiohead song.
Totally.
And yeah, I mean, I just think that this is another example too of just a great song is a great song, and you can kind of, within reason, arrange it however you want. I have queued up, if we have time to get to it, him playing this in a From the Basement session solo on the piano.
Love it.
And it's just really cool to hear some of these songs that are so electronic on their album versions played in a more on live acoustic instruments and still retain so many interesting qualities. Like they still have a lot going on, and you're just like, oh wow, it can exist as a completely different type of song and be great. I also would say this is one of my favorite songs to belt along to, because when Thom...
Listeners, Walker was singing this when he first got to my house, and I was like, that was a great harmony. I don't mean to embarrass my co-host too often, but it was great.
Oh, well, thank
that's
you.
what's fun about Radiohead. If you're an
Hey, if that's embarrassing me, then embarrass me more. No, I mean, I love when Thom belts in a register that I can follow him, which is not all the time, but with this song I really can. Also, I wanted to say, Zach's, your story was so great and so evocative about hearing this song, seeing The Prestige and hearing it in the end credits, asking our cool cousin Levi, who has loomed large on this podcast in our Radiohead fandom. Shout out to you, Levi, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me OK Computer as a young lad. And I love that moment, though, if you say, who is this? Oh, it's Thom Yorke. He's the singer of Radiohead, and him being casual. I was thinking it almost sounds like one of those stories where somebody's like, and I saw her across the room, and I said, I'm going to marry that girl one day. I would love it if Levi said that to you, and you just turned to him and went, I'm going to have a podcast about this guy someday. And podcasts were probably technically getting off the ground in 2006.
2005 was like their origination. So yeah,
there you go. So you could have it could have matched up.
And Levi would have been like, podcasts are a new thing. He would have been, what's a podcast? Because Levi also very into technology, an early adopter, we'll just say.
Yeah. But anyway, did you say that to Levi?
No.
Because we can say that you did, and no one is, unless Levi wants to write in and set the record straight. Nobody is here to contradict.
I'm gonna say maybe I did.
Okay, he did it, listeners. All right, track 3 on the Eraser.
Well, did we want to hear you from a basement, or you want to save that for the end?
Let's get through the album tracks.
Sure, I'm down.
And then because there's a one in particular that I think is worth playing the kind of unplugged version of.
Totally.
And we'll see what else we have time to get to. But listeners, if we don't get to it, just look up Thom Yorke playing Analyze from the Basement. It's very, very similar in tempo, and that piano riff is something that he can play without overdubs, but it's just cool to hear it as just a vocal and piano song. And we'll see if we get to that. This is The Clock.
So, Walker, the point that you were just making about seeing it kind of, because I have seen that rendition of it in the From a Basement, and spoiler alert, this song as well has a different rendition that I find to be absolutely astonishing. But going back to some of our talk during Amnesiac and during even the opening of this episode, me invoking Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I don't know which version I like better, because I think it's so cool and also speaks to... Well, let me back up. I think it's so cool that these songs can be played with acoustic instruments, which happen to be the type of music I favor, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't like a style electronic music that I would have listened to so investigatively were it not for doing a podcast about Radiohead, Aphex Twin, that kind of thing. But it's so impressive to me that Tom... and Johnny, to a degree, really favor experimentation. And just because you have a really clever Jimmy Page type riff, and I might be wrong or something like that, doesn't mean that you have to make it sound like that. You can play it very not sterile. Like, I keep thinking of that song because I love the live version of it so much, but I also love that album version, and they are yin yang. I need them both to make it what it is.
Sure. I mean, and just to make it clear to the listeners what you're talking about, there's a version of this, Thom Yorke playing this on the Henry Rollins show, of all things, on an acoustic guitar. And if you're listening to this does not sound like a song you would play on the acoustic guitar. He completely retains the melody, both vocally and a bunch of the blips and bloops you're hearing.
Yeah.
He fits into his acoustic rendition.
I
guess he did this with a lot of the songs on the album just to make sure that he had kind of command over what the song was before he arranged it in the studio on the laptop. Basically, he would work out a piano or guitar arrangement. Man, I would love to hear all of those because...
Me too. It goes to what you were saying in our last episode, or a couple episodes back, of what you dream a solo Tom project. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
you're cutting me off with exactly what I was going to say. I just feel it'll never happen, but man, these B-sides that basically amount to Thom Yorke solo demos of songs, God, I would love a lo-fi Elliott Smith style Thom Yorke album. I just don't think it's ever going to happen, but Follow Me Around from the Kid A sessions, Gagging Order from Hail to the Thief, Last Flowers from the In Rainbow sessions, that's a piano and an acoustic guitar track and a vocal track. I'd love it. I just think that for a musician of his caliber, it's probably kind of boring to make an album.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think too. I mean, I agree.
Or
with
just
you.
not where his interests lie.
I agree with you. I think maybe I'm longing for that. Maybe for like if we get a 10th Radiohead album. Certainly, like I'm with you on how cool it would be. But I also think though it's like you need the good. No, that's not a good analogy. I was going to say good with the bad because I was
sorry to
just
cut you off.
is.
This is the coolest part of the song. Please go ahead.
Don't you feel like
that chord change is so sinister?
It's amazing. Don't you feel like we need though the thing that makes us longing a little bit though to enhance the go to sleeps, the first half of Paranoid Android, the They're Theirs? Don't you think we need those sort of not less satisfying, but like that we don't get to have the acoustic demos of everything. It almost makes us appreciate when they do use those instruments, those songs a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't wish Radiohead was a
totally.
singer-songwriter project. I just would love. Tom just has great songs,
Yeah.
and he's he plays the guitar in a really beefy, full sound that it's cool to hear just his voice and a guitar working together to really knock you over. And I would love an album like that, but he's not going to do it.
Well,
I know Tom, and Tom's not going to do it.
what's the name of this song, Walker?
This is Black Swan, and this is what I would say is my favorite song on the album.
Is it okay if I talk a little bit while we're
Yes.
listening to it?
Let's just give the listeners.
Love this song.
It's a pretty steady groove.
We got some guitar. I really like this guitar work.
Great bass playing on this album too from
Yeah.
Tom.
Oh, I think
Shades-
Nigel plays.
Nigel is credited with additional instrumentation.
Oh, okay.
So that is probably a little bit of everything, but I think Thom Yorke is definitely they're probably both fucking around on a bunch of different stuff. But whoever's playing, and I have seen live footage of Tom playing this on the bass. Just really groovy stuff. Now you please go ahead.
I just wanted to kind of add on a little more of what you were saying about that. He made sure that he could, translate them into more traditional instrumentation before making them these electronically based songs. That just impresses the hell out of me, and really is just a good reminder. Like with anything, I've never thought of electronic music as lesser than. I guess I have actually, honestly. Not like I have this pyramid or echelon in my mind of what is the most important, and I don't know that all musicians that maybe venture into this territory have that same mastery over melody as Radiohead do. But like Walker was saying with that From a Basement version, there's an alternate version of a song I want us to go through, and it just impresses the hell out of me, and I think really speaks to Thom Yorke as a musician. There's 3 guitar players in the band Radiohead. Around the Kid era, we see him with the guitar a little bit less. Going back to In Rainbows, we see it with him a little bit more. This guy can play all the instruments, but he can play a guitar so well. He's maybe not going to shred like Johnny Greenwood can and doesn't always give us, but his rhythm, dude, is in that's what I really think of the Eraser as a lot. It is a lot of rhythmically emphasized songs.
Yeah. Thom Yorke is a one-man wall of sound.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Nice. When he fucking opens up on the guitar and opens up his vocals to their full capacity, it's just like there is a lot coming at you. And that is why I would love to hear my fantasy project. Zach, the point you're raising about electronic music is something that I was a little nervous to talk about this album because I feel like I don't know very much about electronic music.
That's okay, though.
I think that is okay.
I don't either.
We mentioned Aphex Twin in the Kid A episode quite a bit. That's an artist that I've gotten into in the last year. I love Daft Punk.
Daft Punk.
I would not call, but even though that they are techno, house, and electronic, they're also very, very vocal driven. It's hard not to call them a pop band, right?
Especially in today's
exactly.
Yeah.
So like truly electronic music that real heads who are really into that stuff know. I know very little of or about. I don't think it's really my bag. I think, as we've also discussed, every time I dismiss a genre of music, somebody's going to come along and show me something that I haven't heard that I really appreciate. In general, I'm a song guy. I like melody and I like vocals. And that is something that you tend to need some ingredient of pop in what you're doing, in your stew, for it to resonate with me at the same level as my favorite things.
Totally.
So I say all that to say, when it comes to Thom Yorke and it comes to Radiohead, it really, to me, means that I love this guy's songs
Mm-hmm.
because when a band announces that they are going into their electronic phase,
Mm-hmm.
or a solo artist announces they're going into their electronic phase, that is never good news for me. Just because it's not my favorite kind of music. There is something that I get, and I think a reason it's not my favorite kind of music is the artists that I've mentioned. They are still structuring whole songs with lots of changes around them. A lot of that stuff, when I hear it, it sounds like very interesting sounds, but it tends to be there is one beat going or one loop going, and then we add things through the whole song, which is cool and all. And Radiohead do have songs that do that.
RJD2 would be kind of like, he's a master of that a lot.
Yeah,
I really like him.
Yeah, I know that song that has the Elliott Smith sample. That's really great, and I love the Mad Men theme song. I don't really know what I'm saying except that it's just
A little bit repetitive, maybe at times.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Is and listeners, if you are like, Walker, you don't know what you're talking about, please, I probably don't, and I want to hear the music that's going to show me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I just wouldn't dig this album that much if it wasn't Thom Yorke writing the songs. I guess is all I'm saying. Like, this kind of music does not super excite me in general, and I really love this stuff. Have I made that clear yet,
Absolutely.
that I like this album?
No, I'm taking everything in of what you're saying. I'm also thinking Darren Aronofsky took in the last song and decided to make a movie in 2010 that is very of its time. Have you seen that movie?
I've never seen Black
It
Swan.
is so dated.
I have
dude. It's
sworn
so
off
crazy.
Aronofsky after
Pie.
Mother.
Oh.
I should have sworn him off after
His
Pie
first
because
student film.
Mother was the movie that I've seen of his that I
What
remember
movie do
very
I like?
fondly was The Wrestler.
Okay.
I've only
Yeah,
seen
that's
it
a good movie.
once. I really liked it when I saw it. Every other movie of his I have seen, and at the end gone, that was a bummer, pretentious, and I didn't enjoy it. And then lined up like an asshole to see whatever the next thing was, and it was Mother that I finally put it together. Once again, like whoever it is interviewing Kaiser Sose in the end of Usual Suspects, I looked at all these posters on my wall of Aronofsky's filmography and was like, wait, I don't like a single goddamn one of these movies. Why do I keep coming? So now The Whale is coming out soon, and you're not getting my money.
Yeah. It's not
Aronofsky.
going to be a whale because Walker Glenn's not going to line up to see it.
I'm going to have a whale of a time not seeing that movie. And I'm happy that Brendan Fraser, who seems like a very nice guy and is a good actor, is getting like a tourist vehicle to come back to. But that A24 logo is not going to get my ass in the seat because Mother is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, made by an idiot who thinks that they are smart.
Okay. All right.
Have you seen that movie?
No. No, I don't like
It
his
is
filmography.
astonishingly stupid.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Anyway.
Anyways, so I stopped at Black Swan. What's the next track, Walker?
Wait, you know what? We got to talk one more Black Swan fact.
Okay.
I'm going to start it
All right,
over. We
this is
won't
fucked
replay
up.
the song, but just let's hear. First of all, the chorus is, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. But listen to this groove. So this is. We talked about the bass. You know what this song is made from, Zach?
No.
This song is made from a loop devised on tour by Phil Selway.
On the bass?
Handsome Man. Well, no.
Drums and okay. Gotcha.
I imagine the basis of this song.
Sure.
I don't know what it was limited to. Is a loop made by Phil and Ed, the Handsome Man O'Brien, showing us that the more you try to erase Ed, the more he will return.
Wow, I really like the guitar work in that song. It's very. Can I invoke In Rainbows? I think I've done good with.
Of course, yes.
Reckoner.
Yep, absolutely. A very Reckoner style.
Very,
groove.
very, very much so.
That song fucking rules, and it's another one
Love
that,
it.
if possible, I found some acoustic live versions of. I should say There's not a lot of live footage of these songs. I don't believe in my research, I did not see that Thom Yorke ever like toured this album as such.
No, he did sets. So
yeah, he would do kind of like pop-ups
He-
at festivals and clubs and stuff like that. And then later the band Atoms for Peace forms and plays full band versions of some of these songs. But I didn't really look at those because we've both talked about being somewhat ignorant of the Atoms for Peace era, and we are going to cover that at some point. And I think that'll be a really fun mutual discovery of what we like or dislike about that project.
No, the footage of performances of these songs are limited to the year of its release, which was 2006. That I can find, right? I'm not on the dark web, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. See, the version of Black Swan that I found was 2009, but yeah, it's very sporadic.
Was Atoms for Peace? That was the year they started debuting.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And I found also him playing it on the bass with Nigel on the laptop in Oakland in 2017.
Hell yeah.
In any case, it's sporadic.
Yeah, not material he
his
seems to go
live
back to super
performances.
often.
Yeah. So this is the next song on the album. This is Skip Divided. Do not adjust your hospital bed, listeners.
Thom Yorke is going to soothe you to death. I do love that evocation, though, because I do think that there are some, like you, I've delved into some of Radiohead's influences electronically, and I do have several stations like back in the Pandora era where I made some cool discoveries of electronic music. But Thom Yorke and Radiohead in those more electronically focused songs, they do seem to evoke a stronger imagery for me than other electronic music I've listened to. You said hospital bed, like the clock, I mean, that would be a little bit more obvious, time, blah, 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 like the ticking kind of nature of it. I just think it's a Radiohead songwriting, which is helmed by Thom Yorke, and on this album, and Thom Yorke is a visual artist, as we're going to discuss in a future episode. I really feel like there's a strong component of evoking imagery in sounds. We talked about word painting, right? And I just think that is a very, very rare and unique talent to do it in a not ham-fisted way.
Yeah.
And, I would say somebody who's able to do it through a different medium, but equally powerfully would be like somebody like Stephen King on the page, but imagery-wise. Really, really, really unique talent.
Well, I mentioned that this was one that I found the lyrics to be a little more direct. This is one of the songs I would say is slightly more cryptic.
I love that hey hey.
Yeah, this is a really dark song. This is like not necessarily a standout on the album for me, but it's cool. I mean, I like. It's a very ominous sounding song.
We got that wolf at the door kind of sing-songy, talky.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this one's about. I'm looking at the lyrics. You are a fool for sticking round. I've tried every trick in the book. I tried to look anew. Every trick in the book. Well, how come I look? No one can undress your elliptical caress. Don't look into your eyes because you're desperately in love. I don't know. Is this song about like
it's just a
being
angry
seduced
Thom Yorke song.
by maybe something morally?
Do you think Tom even knows Walker? I mean, I think sometimes one of Tom's strengths as a lyricist is, he's said this and Hail to the Thief are the angriest albums that he's ever written, right? And there's a lot of beauty in it. And Thom Yorke's not Eminem. You're not going to get these, you were talking about that maybe a lot of the songwriting comes from a point of dejection with fame and maybe tired of being recognized. Eminem gives you that, like on the second album where he's really complaining about the inconvenience of that. I feel like we get a little bit of that with Thom Yorke too, but in a different delivery system. I'm not going to say better, but in a much more scaled down way. And it's not always clear what he's talking about,
Yeah, now that I'm looking at more of the lyrics, this one to me sounds like maybe another kind of like media and technology critique of not being able to hear your own thoughts. I'm going to skip divided malfunction. I flap around and dive bomb frantically around your light, enveloped in a sad distraction. The reason I was trying to kind of suss out what this one's about is because this is, like you said, lyrically, it's like kind of an angry album. It's also sonically, it sounds pretty like ominous and creepy at different points. This is one where he was very much putting it on Front Street that he's very occupied with climate change.
Oh, that's right.
He's literally like on like a lecture circuit around England with, I don't remember the name of the organization, but with a organization he's involved in that's trying to fight and mitigate the effects of climate change. And he's talking about that the clock is about the clock ticking for how long we have on this planet. So yeah, it's and the cover, I guess we should say the cover is based on a legend of a king trying to control the ocean and not being able to, being enveloped by the waves. So, you know, he's still
love the cover of this album.
More Stanley
Donwood. And Walker may not have mentioned it already, brought it over on vinyl to share and just look at. And I mean, it's just so just from a composition perspective. Oh, again, it goes to that, like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Stanley Donwood, we follow, the podcast does on Instagram, can do really detailed landscapes that aren't photorealistic, but are totally different style. This is, cartoonish. Its composition is,
well, it looks like a woodcut.
It does, yeah, and it's not simple, but it's not Renaissance era realism, which is not. I'm not saying that's what I want him to do. I just love that restraint. It's just so cool looking.
And this is, we mentioned before, Tom's band that he forms with Flea a few years after this album is called Atoms for Peace. This is a song called Atoms for Peace.
And it's spelled ADAMS, right?
That's right. That'd be amazing if he formed a band called Atoms for Peace, and it's like him, Adam Levine, Adam Clayton, Adam Yorke from the Beastie Boys. So far we've got 3 vocalists. We've got the singer of Maroon 5, one of the now passed away, but not at the time, the scratchy, husky-voiced member of the Beastie Boys.
Rest in peace, yeah.
Then, of course, we've got Adam Clayton holding it down on the low end.
That's who's the bass player of U2, right?
That's the bass player of U2. We need an Adam on the drums. Who's a good Adam drummer?
Adam Klein.
Adam Klein from wonderful Nevada City band Golden Shoulders. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if he can drum, but he's more of a guitarist, as far as I know. Yeah. Guitarist, singer, songwriter. We do love Golden Shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great band from our home area, if not home.
Absolutely.
No, we got to. Okay, so because Tom can play guitar.
Well, anyone
we've got to. Thank you. But we need. Who is an Adam drummer?
I promise I'm thinking. I do.
And did I say Adam Levine or Adam Devine?
Yeah, you said Adam Levine.
Okay, because we can't add Adam Devine to this band because we've got too many singers already.
Right. It'll come to me.
Adam Carolla on drums.
He's just obnoxiously podcasting.
God, I bet him and Tom, with his politics, I bet him and Tom would get along smashingly.
And the roast of Bruce Willis, who's Jeff Ross, the roast master.
Yeah.
So Adam Carolla went and was like super unfunny, and Jeff Ross always closes out the roast in brilliant fashion. I think he is hilarious. And Adam Carolla had all kinds of just chauvinistic bullshit in his rant. And
such a bad comic.
Yeah, Jeff Ross goes, very interesting podcast tonight, Adam. And he's like, oh, you railed against women for 20 minutes. Well, maybe you should have hired a couple to write your fucking jokes. And I was like, oh my God, that was great.
Oh my God.
Not a skipper. That's not why we talked over it. It's just
no, about this song. This is one that never moved the needle for me, that I really, really like on the listens leading up to this recording. I mean, listen, it's really pretty. It's kind of a major key. Rawness in his vocals too, I really like. It was maybe first, second, or third take. Yeah, it's just really minimal, so I don't think it ever stood out to me. But this is another one, like Optimistic from Kid A. This is a song dealing with stage fright, anxiety, wanting to shut himself away and, not emerge from a dark room. And his partner of many years, Rachel Owens, apparently the lyrical refrain is, directly lifted from encouraging words she would give him, which is the same as optimistic. The chorus of if you try the best you can, the best you can is good enough was something she would say. Let me look up the lyrics.
I like that because that stands in stark contrast to I'm not here, this isn't happening.
Want you to get out and make it work. So many allies, so feel the love come off of them and take me in your arms. Peel all your layers off. I want to eat your artichoke heart. I mean, it's, I feel a little emotional reading those, knowing this is his partner who they were broken up at the time of her death.
In 2015, the end of their relationship.
But, the mother of his children and his love for many, many years.
And is now passed away.
Is now passed away, and a lot of Radiohead's last studio album is directly and indirectly dealing with the grieving process of losing a loved one. So
really, really
hits a little different.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man.
And a gorgeous song, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that last vocal line, we don't have to go back to it, but no one ever. We've talked about like in Dollars and Cents that like sometimes I think it was a little bit of an era of Radiohead too, when he was really, really experimenting with his voice. But lest you forget, Thom Yorke has a 6-octave range, and he's not Freddie Mercury. I mean, he doesn't belt it from the same region of his body, but I just would encourage listeners, of course, to on their own to listen to this album. And there's just that vocal line is just incredible.
Yeah, and a beautiful falsetto. And that lyric I read too of "I want to eat your artichoke." I want to eat your artichoke heart. It reminds me of another Radiohead Thom Yorke love song, "True Love Waits," where he says, "You're crazy." What is it? Your tiny hands, your crazy kitten smile. It just, both of those things, who knows what they mean to him, but they both sound to me like, you know how it is when you're in a couple, you start to speak to each other in, I feel like, increasingly bizarre ways. You develop that shorthand that emerges from an inside joke or a shared moment or just being silly, and it can turn into you saying something insane like, I want to eat your artichoke heart. And so hearing that in a song, I feel like one of the best examples of that in media is the scene in Punch Drunk Love where they've like finally found each other in Hawaii and they're in the hotel room just in like a love bubble. Eddie's telling her, I want to smash your face with a hammer. And she's like, I want to squeeze your eyeballs until the jelly pops out and then suck the retinas out of your eyeballs. And it's simultaneously so bizarre and so sweet and romantic.
Yeah, I think that because I know what you're talking about, where you develop a vernacular or what is it, like a subset, basically,
it's
with
like
a partner.
Shared language.
Yeah, but usually it's based on like some of what I think Thom Yorke is talking about with Crazy Kitten Smile. There's something called the science of cute and the cute aggression.
Okay.
So a lot of times people will say about babies or puppies or like newborn kitty cats, like, oh, I want to eat them, or... Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah.
And there is a science to that like it's so, or I just can't even would be the most simple example of that.
Right.
I feel like in Punch Drunk Love, what he's doing is he's imitating that, but making it maybe more violent than anyone would ever actually go.
Yeah, because he's like a kind of somewhat actually disturbed protagonist.
Yeah, I feel a little stupid that I wasn't trying to explain the writing there, but that's kind of what I got out of it, because I'd only seen that movie one time in like 2010, and I recently rewatched it. And like going back with a lot of Radiohead, I was like, I wouldn't say I didn't get it, now I get it, but I really did get a lot more out of it.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, but I think Adam Sandler has shown since then in quite a few movies that he can act. That was probably the first one where he could act really well in more serious material, so it was a lot of fun. A little nostalgic.
Yeah, that is one that I think at the time in the filmography of PTA, it seemed, I always liked it, but it seemed like, like a slightly lesser effort, and I'm not saying it's my favorite, but now I would put it up there with his great work. It's really risen.
It's kind of the
esteem.
bridge, because I think it goes Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood.
Yeah,
all very different films, but it does feel like this weird type of bridge. And to bring it all back to Radiohead, led by the singer Thom Yorke, Punch Drunk Love is the film where Johnny Greenwood and Thom Yorke and Johnny Greenwood were very big fans of that movie, and that led to one of the greatest film and music collaborations, I think, in modern day history between Johnny Greenwood and P.T. Anderson.
Now, listeners, we've talked over it, but playing in the background is And It Rained All Night, another plea for sanity about climate change, and another kind of funky, dark, groovy song. You know what I've described a lot of the sounds of this album as,
groovy?
Zach, is it's groovy, but I was playing the record the other day with my girlfriend who didn't really know the album. And I was like, yeah, it's like sexy time Radiohead. and I do think that it's like, you know, if you're the kind of person who, you know, puts on music for sexy time, I don't think Radiohead usually would be a go-to for most people.
They've expressed shock when people have told them
I
that.
remember seeing that with people tell me they shag to Paranoid Android. Me and Zach clearly watched the same YouTube video of an incensed Thom Yorke.
It's more like music to slit your wrist to.
Yeah, exactly.
Not shag to.
Music to shag to death to. Now, I'm not saying that Thom Yorke the Eraser is necessarily top of mind.
But
as
you
great
did shag
music either. But oh my God, I am not trying to intonate anything about my sex life. I'm saying this is more shaggable sounding to me than Radiohead.
Totally.
And we'll cut all this.
Will we? Okay.
No, we can't because we were talking. The music was playing in the background.
I think we should leave it. Yeah, no, it definitely has a groove. Now, this is the 9th track. Am I correct?
This is the second to last track, Zach. This is Harrow Downhill.
Okay.
Now, listen to this funky bass loop.
Love it.
Now, this is doing a very cool thing that Radiohead does a lot on the piano and on the guitar, where there's a melody part that is playing through the whole thing, and then the chords change, and that melody goes throughout. As you can hear, the chords have changed to a major chord there, but the bass loop is still going.
Oh, I love that, the vocal.
And I love this song.
I love this song.
This is up there in the... I like this whole album. This is one of probably 4 songs that I would say I love.
I agree with you, man. And in the intro there, during our Hail the Thief episode, you mentioned an artist that I think we both love, Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
This vocal melody, while Peter Gabriel has a much bassier voice himself, I could see sort of in the So and maybe more Us era, actually, kind of climbing up, and the bassiness of it, too.
Zach, this very much sounds like a Peter Gabriel.
Oh, really? Okay,
groove
good.
To me.
With that mic covering your mouth and only the glare, I could see.
No, I was smugly smiling at you because I was thinking, you son of a bitch. You took the words right out of my mouth. Peter Gabriel has these kind of weird,
a lot of the synth
eerie, synthy grooves, but then like has a somewhat funky bass part buoying it. And that's very much this. Do you know what this song's about? Did you read about that?
No, I just love the naming convention. But what is it about?
It's heavy and really poetic and beautiful. This song is about UK weapons inspector David Kelly, who was a whistleblower about the lie that got the U.S. and England into the Iraq War, about the WMDs.
So he called bullshit on it?
Yes.
Wow.
And then was found dead and Zach can see my face. I'm saying, I don't know, but there's a great deal of skepticism about the nature of his death. It was ruled a suicide, but
he like shot himself in the head twice or something.
That is, I don't know.
It was something like
I
that.
actually, so I think you're thinking of the journalist whose name I cannot pull, who exposed Reagan administrations to the drug trade in the 80s, specifically cocaine and crack.
Yes,
he died of a suicide where he committed suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head twice, apparently.
Right.
I don't know the cause of death. I know that it was ruled a suicide and that he was found in Harrow Downhill, which I guess is near where Thom Yorke went to school in Oxfordshire.
Wow.
Out in the woods. I don't know what the method of death was. I know that there's a lot of questions about if he actually killed himself
Sure,
or not.
sure.
As there should be any time anyone
blows the
whistle on the government.
Geopolitical conflict for oil.
And Thom Yorke is in this song both kind of, stating a protest about what may have happened to this guy, and also kind of just like aligning himself with him about, oh, they found you where I went to school. It's like really personal. He's talking about they found you out in the woods near I went to school. And then that refrain of we think the same things at the same time, I think he's expressing solidarity with what this guy was putting his ass on the line about. And yeah, so he said this was like a really hard choice for him to write this with respect to his grieving family, but he felt worse not registering his contempt against the government that the guy blew the whistle on, and his feelings of support for what he did.
Well,
so it's, really, definitionally a protest song.
Really appreciate you dropping that in. I did not know that. That's it's always good. It's been really good to go back through Hail to the Thief and through Amnesiac, Kid A as well. I don't have the same level of participation and passion as Radiohead does, and a lot of folks do in environmental sustainability. I certainly don't litter, and I'm on board. I'm just saying that's not maybe the cause that I put the most time in. Hopefully that'll change. But it has been really good to talk about that, and especially the conflict in the war in Iraq. Right now, we don't want to date this episode, but we do want to mention it, that there's always global conflict, but currently probably top of mind would be Russia and Ukraine. It's really important. I'm not lecturing the listeners. I'm telling myself this. It's really important not to elevate or forget about one of those. And I think that Radiohead do a really nice job. You were talking about the direct approach on the lyrics. I still, even from that song, it sounds like it's fairly direct, but there's not a lot of resolve to it. It's really melancholy. So I can understand the push-pull within him to maybe not want to put it out but his family's always going to feel that way, right? They're not going to feel resolved. They're not going to get peace. So if the song is representative of that, I wonder how therapeutic or not it is. But I mean, again, it just goes to how I was saying, I think Tom and crew are really good at maybe potentially word painting. Conveying a feeling through melody and mode is really powerful too.
Yeah. Absolutely. And talk about like direct approach. I mean, he doesn't name check the guy, but he was in the press, I think, specifically talking about this song. Like we've talked about, Thom Yorke is vocal about his political affiliations, opinions, and causes he believes in, and was especially at this time. Like I said, he was literally on a lecture tour about climate change with this organization. And this is up there with Bob Dylan writing a song about the hurricane, and what his false imprisonment.
The boxer?
Yeah. I'm going to edit this, I feel
Why?
like. 'Cause
that's accurate, isn't it?
Yeah, but I feel dumb that I'm bringing something up that I know none of the specifics of.
No, everything you're saying is on target with what I know to be true. They made a film about it. I think Denzel plays him.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And what was he in prison for?
It was got pulled over, black man in a big city in whatever decade it's set in, and they were looking for two men of color, the police were, and they just snatched him up and threw him in prison with like zero evidence.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for saving
Never
my
happens
ass on
anymore.
that. Right. Bob Dylan wrote a song about it and America woke up. In any case, this is like as direct as that, except he's not saying the guy's name, but name checking the location where he was found, its proximity to Tom's own life. And I don't know if that would be that might be one of those things. I don't know. There's so much speculation, but that level of blatant reference to a person and a modern day thing, as political as Radiohead gets, that could be one of those things that maybe the band would say, this is like not us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I know Ed was really pro Operation Iraqi.
That's right. There's a
I'm sorry. We're never gonna get him on the podcast.
Ed was, even though he was like 45 at the time, was like trying to get in like the Imperial Army. In any case.
Oh my God.
Ed was huge into Operation Iraqi Freedom. Oh my God.
Anyway, no, we're kidding, listeners. He wasn't.
Ed is a hardcore Reaganomics Blair. He's a Thatcherite. This is the last song on the album, Cymbal Rush. One that doesn't super jump out to me, but
no, I really like the loops, just the sounds. Obviously, Walker and I have discussed electronic music maybe isn't our forte. I just really like a lot of that as opposed to maybe some of the melodic things he's doing with his voice. I don't know where we're at time-wise, Walker, but do we have time for one of those acoustic renditions, or do you?
Yeah,
think
we sure do.
Okay.
I think we want to like respect that the album is shorter than the last few Radiohead albums, and we're trying not to go super over time here. I guess if we really wanted to be true to this album, what we should have done is Zach and I each recorded separate episodes, solo episodes.
We did talk about that.
Yeah, are we going to do a solo project at some point? Is there going to be... There's Idio Talk, and then there's...
Idio.
And Talk. Let's see. So... Specifically, the
no
clock
is the answer.
We're not going to do that. Specifically, The Clock is a song. Oh my God, listeners, my dog has a chew toy and it will not leave me alone.
No,
right now.
Chew's giving it to me. It's very cute.
It's very cute, but it's very unwelcome while we're trying to podcast. So this is Thom Yorke playing The Clock on an acoustic guitar, and there's an ad.
That's okay. So yeah, this is Thom Yorke in the year 2006 playing The Clock acoustic on the Henry Rollins Show. It's a collectible Gibson acoustic that he's using. Very, very old guitar. One
It's
guitar,
so
listeners.
cool.
One guitar.
It's so cool how he adds that bass note and changes the chord just with the addition of that one note, playing the same melody on the high strings the whole time.
We're praising the musicianship in terms of guitar playing and rhythm of Thom Yorke, the singing, listeners, and the coordination it takes. This song rhythmically is very aggressive.
And talk about your Jimmy Page. Like, I mean, this
absolutely.
is... It's weird, Zach, until this podcast and you pointing out that certain moments on Hail to the Thief really reminded you of Led Zeppelin by way of Radiohead. I never made that connection, but some of the kind of chord structures that Thom Yorke works in when he's in that drop tuning, and I don't know if this is...
Love this. This is evocative a little bit, listeners, of like the Phrygian dominant scale. A little bit what to ear, a little bit Egyptian maybe, like not Western in its melodic flavor. It would be the best way to say it. The Phrygian scale is often compared to Egyptian. And you were talking about the tuning, Walker. Does this sound like it's in standard tuning to you?
No, is it?
No.
Okay.
So, listeners, this is very, very, very innovative and crazy tuning. For our guitar heads out there, it is in E. This is going from low to high. It is in E, B as in boy, D, F sharp, B, D. We don't want to spend too much time on that because, we don't want to focus on the tuning.
Wow, that's like but it's...
It's open B minor.
Okay, because I was going to... Well...
No, not
the
quite.
The E is throwing it way
The E
off,
is throwing it off. So it has, when it's almost in an open minor tuning, it's going to give it that resonance, which goes to what Walker was saying about, listen now, he's playing one straight through, but then he brings in that bass note and it gives it a lot more flavor.
So when he hits that E is when it like changes the chord.
Yeah, and he's not holding static. I mean, listeners, please go onto YouTube. It's free. It's an app. You can download it. Go on your computer and watch this. You really, really get to see the coordination, and he's in the zone, and it's not easy to do.
And here's the peak. Right here.
Isn't his playing style interesting to you, Walker? Look at his wrist. He's so loose.
I just am amazed that he's able to get everything that is in that studio version that sounds nothing like this into him and an acoustic guitar. Now, can I play a little bit of him playing Black Swan live?
Please, yeah. What do we got here?
So this is him playing Black Swan, and the video didn't show it, but I think what he did is he plays some percussion on his acoustic guitar, loops that, because you can hear that. And he's playing it on a nylon string guitar, way slowed down.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot slower. I want to learn this.
Sure.
I'm guessing drop D here.
Sounds like it. That low. Man, this is fucked up, dude.
But
I love that.
Again,
it's
like,
tasty. I love the crowd participation in the video. It's great.
I mean, this is one of the more guitar-driven songs on the album. But still, it's got so much going on percussion-wise and bass-wise, and to strip it down to him pounding on the sound hole of an acoustic guitar and playing one guitar track, it just really just shows that a good song, you can take away a bunch of the sauce and still have a great song.
Well, I think quote of the podcast from you was... The quote of the podcast that you said was Thom Yorke is a one-man wall of sound. I intentionally left this person off when I was talking about the highs and lows of solo projects because this person is a solo artist who usually hires a very talented group of musicians to tour with him, would be Beck. Beck Hansen. I'm not going to say if I feel more or less favorably about Beck than I do about Thom Yorke because they're completely distinct artists. I do think there's more overlap sometimes than we're aware of in their style. Not derivative, not borrowing. They have both worked with Nigel Godrich. If I could recommend to listeners real quick, Beck album that is produced by Nigel Godrich. It's called It's called The Information, and it was released in 2006. People usually mark it as a throwaway album, and it's one of my favorite Beck albums. I know people usually go to Sea Change, and that is a fantastic
also
record.
Produced by Nigel.
Also produced by Nigel.
Did he do Mutations too?
I don't know. I believe those two that I just mentioned are the only two with Nigel.
Okay.
It could be, though. I love Mutations. But yeah, I really want to recommend Beck on a Radiohead podcast. But no, there is a lot of overlap, and I think Beck is a one-man wall of sound. He's also a tiny man with a incredible ability to play guitar and resonate his voice. So I would imagine listeners are familiar with him, but I really, really wanted to highlight him at some point in the episode.
Yeah. Zach and I both love Beck. In fact, if I
both
can even say, we've both seen him live, and we have also even talked about maybe covering more of his music on this podcast at some point. If that's, Zach, do you feel comfortable with it?
Yeah, absolutely. The catalog is vast and great and diverse.
And I have news for you. Mutations is also produced by Nigel
No
Godrich,
shit.
And,
wow, good call, man.
My favorite Beck album is either Mutations or Sea Change. Sea Change is probably my favorite, but I almost feel a little weird making it my favorite because it's Beck has
Going
made
through a breakup.
very different. Has gone through many different phases musically and doesn't tend to repeat himself in a one-to-one album sense, but Sea Change is kind of such an outlier. It feels a little weird to call it my favorite. Mutations feels like more of a
funky,
typical Beck album.
Yeah.
But in any case, those are and I think we got time to play a little bit of this Analyze as well.
Sure.
So this is also Eraser track, Analyze. This is him playing it before the Eraser from 2005. So like I said, this is kicking around as a potential Radiohead song.
Love it.
So previously to seeing him play this solo on a piano, I would have thought there were a lot more keyboard overdubs. But, this is left hand, right hand, everything he's doing right now. And I don't hear a lot more piano melody wise in the studio version.
No, it's doing that thing though that you were talking about where there's that melody throughout and we kind of change our bass or our even main chord. Like Spinning Plates would do this. Street Spirit does this, going all the way back.
Yep.
It's a melodic, I wouldn't say trick or go-to, but it is something that is recurrent in their music that it's just really, really cool when you get to know an artist that way.
Listeners, we went silent for a moment there because the aforementioned dog got caught in a mic cord and almost pulled something off the table. In any case,
love it.
Yeah, this
Beautiful.
is amazing. I'm going to fade it out. So that's Thom Yorke, The Eraser. A lot of stuff there. I really recommend if you're a fan of Radiohead and you haven't spent time with this album, it's really worth chewing on. It continues to like yield more and more little goodies as I listen to it over the years. I also want to say, Zach, I realized today looking at Thom Yorke's solo work that his second solo album is one I am wholly unfamiliar with. It's called Box something.
Okay.
Something. I put it in my Apple Music today. It's called Tomorrow's Modern Boxes.
And that's not a soundtrack or anything?
No, it's a Thom Yorke album from 2014 that I have never listened to. He had the Suspiria soundtrack come out in 2018 and
Anima,
a third solo album come out in 2019 that I have not listened to much since its time of release.
I've listened to that one quite a bit.
But I have listened to it. This one I somehow completely overlooked the existence of. So I think that
fans are wondering if we're true.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to make myself look like a jerk on my Radiohead podcast.
I think you're okay.
But I think we should cover more of the Thom Yorke solo stuff as it fits into the chronology of the band, and I would very much like to explore this next one. What do you think?
I would love that.
And this is still Idio Talk. This is not Idio Tom.
No,
because our Batman podcast is a totally different podcast. That's Idio Bat. This is still related enough to the Radiohead universe that it's still Idio Talk.
Yeah, I mean, Tom culturally and I think visually is very, not symbolic, representative of the band. So I do think it's okay that we take these little deviations. I had such a great time preparing for this, not only in listening it, but in kind of making my notes and really going through it with you. I think we really honed in on different things, and I don't mean to jerk each other off here, but I just really have enjoyed this. I feel like the timing was really good in terms of exploration and what like I want to find in music that I love, and then also in music that influenced people like Thom Yorke or Johnny Greenwood and stuff like that. And so it's just been really, really great for that. And I love this album. I have such a good time listening to all 8 tracks of it.
9.
All 9.
You
sorry.
insist it's 8 tracks.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me on that one, but I really, really enjoy it for it's so densely packed, but not in a way that you have to explore 10 times to even find the melody. Like maybe in some of the other solo discography.
We'll see. Time will tell. I agree. I love this album. I loved listening to it. I loved talking about it, and job well done all around. And I mean that both to Tom for this album and us for this episode, which I think in some ways and Ed for that loop that he made with Phil. You cannot erase Ed.
No.
Ed will not be ignored. Ignored. Ignore Ed.
Yeah.
But yeah, great job, Tom, and great job to us. In some ways, I think our episode has even surpassed the album that inspired it. But
Totally.
Listeners, the more you try to erase us, the more we will return. And we will return on a Friday next week with another episode that I'm very excited about. And we hope that you will return with us. Remember to rate, review, subscribe if you aren't. Don't worry, we're getting back to Radiohead studio discography before too long, but we've got some other stuff we want to talk to you about. We want to spend as much time with the boys as possible. And with that, we will see you next week. I am Walker Glenn.
I'm Zach Glenn.
Take care, listeners. Bye. Idiotalk is a Glenn Brothers production. Get in touch with us at idiotalk.podcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at idiotalk.podcast. And thanks for listening to